It's very important that you take a break sometimes. You give yourself a break, for you give yourself a break sometimes because your body needs it. Your body's like a car, right? If you drive your car all day, right? The more your car is driving for longer, right? The more it's gonna, you know, like for example, the mileage. Yeah, let's use the mileage as example. The more you drive your car, the more you're putting mileage on your car, right? And that's the same with your body, right? Sometimes the more you're going, right? You're putting mileage on your body, right? So sometimes you have to, take a step back, right? Sometimes you know you have to know your body, right? Like how much can your body take, right? How much can your mind take, right? And sometimes you have to just stop, right? Like you have to just I said stop. Nah, sometimes you just have to, you know like I said, know yourself, right? Like know how much you can take. And then it's fine to take breaks. Like, there's nothing wrong with taking breaks. um yeah, there's nothing wrong with taking breaks. Sometimes, like I said, your body can only take so much, right? And everybody's different, right? There might be some people that can go for longer given their biological components, their just their body and like everything. Everyone's different, right? And so, yeah, someone can take more than you can take, right? So, like I said, you have to know your limits, right? You have to know your limits and know how much that how much. And that's how I live my life, for example, right? Like me, I always go dependent on how much I can give, right? I'll never give so much. I'll never give so much to where I forget about myself, right? And that's how everyone should be, right? You should never go as far as like giving so much that you forget yourself, right? Like you have to give yourself some time too, right? Like you have to really take a step back, right? And yeah, man, this year, especially 2020, man, I'm sure it's been a rough year for everyone. And it's just a lot that's going on. And at the same time, it's like it's like you would expect, like during this time of like corona and all this that's going on, you would expect that they would give people time off, right? Like they would give people just time off. But it's like people gotta work, right? People gotta earn, people gotta eat, right? And so with all this that's going on, right, with all this different factors, right, it can take a toll on your body, right? It could take a toll on your mind, your spirit, right? So I mean, this is like the time where you really have to take care of yourself, right? Like during this time, like during these times that we're in, it's like this is when you have to really prioritize your mental health, right? Your physical health, right? You have to really prioritize, because everything plays a part, right? Like the outside stressors, right? It can take a toll on your physical health, right? Your mental health. And so it's very important, like I said, during these times to really give time to yourself, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with giving time to yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. Like God even created the day and the night, right? Like he created the day for work, for livelihood, and he created the night for rest, right? And he even mentioned that in the Quran, right? Like in the Quran, he mentioned that. And there's a reason why, right? Like he knows that human beings need rest, right? Like human beings, they need rest, yeah. Because you cannot go too long before you crash, right? And we also depend on, like I know as a society, we also depend on other things to keep us going, you know, like for example, like coffee and like other stimulants, right? You know, we depend on these things to keep us going, and sometimes, you know, that's not a great thing, right? Like that's not the best thing, right? Because, you know, yeah, your body, you know, your body can't take a lot, but you're trying to push it, right? Like you're trying to push yourself with these stimulants, you know, and these things to keep you going, right? You know, and of course, with anything, if you depend on anything, you know, outside of yourself and outside of God, right? Like for example, a drug or a stimulant or these things, right? These things will eventually harm you, right? You know, and for me, like I'm a big proponent of going natural, right? Like me, I don't drink coffee. Like I drank it probably a few times, but you know, and caffeine also, but I'm not like a drinker. Like I don't like to depend on these things, right? And I even noticed, like when I do drink caffeine, for example, you know, like my body starts to feel different. Like I feel like I'm on drugs, literally. I mean, it is a drug, right? But it is a drug, but it's like like I even feel like I'm drugged, like I'm on drugs, right? And I don't like that feeling. Like I don't want to feel like I don't have control over my body, right? Like over myself. You know, and these things, that's, you know, it pushes you, like it's like it's a drug, right? And like any drug, you know, it changes your neurochemistry, right? You know, it messes with your brain and your functions, right? So me, like I stay away from like any type of stimulant, you know, like any caffeine, for example. But yeah, just to go back, right, and to end this video, like I said, you know, give yourself time off. Like give yourself a break, right? Like sometimes get a break, you know. You know, and sometimes I know like people rely on us, right? I know people depend on us, but it's like, you know, there's 24 hours in a day, right? Like you can dedicate, you know, depending on you, your depending on you and who you are, right? Depending on your, I don't know, because everyone is different, right? But, you know, you can take a few moments, like, you know, like even like the 5 daily prayers, right? Like Fajr, up to Isha, right? Like there's even, God even made it to where, you know, subhanAllah, is part of like, I don't know, it's Allahu A'lam, maybe it's part of God's wisdom, right? That, you know, he ordered 5 daily prayers for a reason, right? So that, you know, maybe, I don't know, but it could be that, you know, he knows that our bodies need time to rejuvenate, right? Like time to energize, right? You know, and yeah, man, it's crazy, subhanAllah. But yeah, I'll just end it with that. You know, I'll just say that, you know, give yourself time, you know, give yourself a break, you know. Make sure you use at least those 5 daily prayers, right? Use that time at least to get that 5-minute break, right, of the 24 hours. I would even argue you need more than that, but, you know, for those who are busy, I mean, you know, use that 5 daily prayers, right, to give your body a break and to rejuvenate, right, and rejuvenate your spirit too, you know, because we're more than just a body, right? We're more than just physical. We're also spiritual too. You know, without the spirit, if the spirit is dead, the body's gonna be dead too, right? So your spirit gotta always be rejuvenated, and so that your body can also, you know, keep going and also be rejuvenated. And so yeah, I'll just end it there. And as always, I appreciate you guys. And yeah, take care, guys.